Hello, good evening, everyone. Happy
Right.
Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. How's everyone doing out there?
How's everyone doing out there tonight?
Hope you all are well. Welcome, welcome. How's it going for you guys too over at TikTok?
That's right. And try not to shake that.
All right. So we are back again for our weekly immigration updates and Q&A. My name is Radlin Mendoza, and this is my husband and law partner, John Gardner. We are attorneys and the founders at Gardner Mendoza Immigration Law, physical office in Virginia Beach, Virginia. And I say physical because we serve clients in all 50 states and all around the world. So
Absolutely.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us. And we're happy to be here again. I think we've got a pretty good streak going on here. Like we haven't missed a Wednesday in a while.
We haven't missed a Wednesday in a while. And we've got a bigger screen here that we're working off of. So Radlin and I just kind of are looking at it going, wow, look how big that screen is. Okay. This is different.
But good.
This is good.
But good.
Absolutely.
But good. We're gonna see the questions and it'll
well, thanks for joining us. We do this every Wednesday night from 8 until 9 o'clock. And we come on for 1 hour and we give you immigration updates. Sometimes we give you a little inspirational story. I'm going to do that tonight.
Yay! Bringing back the immigration inspirational stories.
And most importantly, though, we like to answer your questions. Now, I have to warn you that what we do here is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not legal advice. But that said, get your questions loaded up. Bring them and we will absolutely get to them and answer them. And I also want to say hi to all the folks over here. This is our TikTok crew over here that I'm monitoring. So if you see me looking over here, that's just me scrolling the TikTok questions. If you're on TikTok joining us, welcome. I will urge you, if you're on TikTok, to try to come over to the Facebook side and get your stuff posted there, because it's a lot easier for us to read on our Facebook, because it's in the section where the questions are written down and we can post it. And oftentimes it helps other people as well. The TikTok stuff is a little tricky sometimes to read because it's so short. All right.
Yeah. Can I get a thumbs up if you all can hear us okay? Because we're pretty far from the mic. We may have to change that not now, but if you guys can just let us know if you can hear us pretty clearly or if we need to make any adjustments, because we are experimenting now with a different setup, which was supposed to save us time, but because it's new, we were 5 minutes late today. So sorry about that. We will be going until 9:05. Okay. Miss Lakeisha says thumbs up. She can hear us just fine. Thank you so much. Hello to Joshua. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. Miss Lovely.
Yes.
And of course, Miss Lakeisha, thanks for that confirmation. All right. And Roshan, how's it going? And so for those of you who want to ask a question, please go ahead and put them in the comments. We are taking a look at them. We are like immigration and answering these questions first in, first out.
That's right.
So if you post your question first, then we will answer it first. If you wait to post a question or you're joining us late, that's okay. Yeah. But you may have to, just rewatch to see if we covered one of your questions. So,
and those of you on TikTok, I want to just let you know that if your question doesn't get answered, you may want to go back and rewatch the Facebook Live, because these are all posted on our Facebook page after we're done. Sometimes we don't get to one of your questions because it's a question that has already been answered. Some of these questions actually is pretty common that the questions repeat. So somebody will ask something, 30 minutes later, somebody else gets on to TikTok and they're asking the same question that we've just talked about 10 minutes before. So if that happens, if you're thinking, oh, they didn't get to my question, go back and watch the Facebook rebroadcast, I guess.
Yep.
And you may find that it was answered earlier. Okay.
So also for you guys on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter, if you can just let us know what this view is like, because the camera is a lot higher than it used to be. So I just want to make sure that it's not weird. What's weird for me is John and I are so far apart because with the other setup, we were really close together, which is
sorry we're
awesome.
Squirming around so much, but we've been doing this for 2 years a certain way. Now we have this new setup. And
do we feel like it's kind of like
it's odd.
Yeah, let us know.
We'll get used to it. We'll get used to it.
Tell us if it's horrible. or if it's fine. All right.
Change is often uncomfortable.
Change is uncomfortable. Lakeisha says we look good. You're probably just saying that so we can just move on to the questions.
So while we have some questions loading up here,
yeah.
We started this a while back, and I like to do it from time to time because I feel like there's a lot of negative immigration news out there. I feel like there's a lot of stereotypes with immigration that are not positive. When we're out and about, I feel like people always approach us with questions, and there are always questions about, do you think, we should build a border wall? We need to tear down the border wall. And immigration is so much more than that. And we always like to remind people that this whole immigration thing, this is not just a big argument about the southern border, okay? That's a very, very small part of immigration policy and of immigration law and of what we do. And so to try to sort of counter that, I started trying to come up with Radlin as well with inspirational immigration stories, things that were just to remind us of what can come from immigration that has nothing to do with that stuff. All right. And I decided that since many of you have been probably following the NCAA men's basketball tournament, March Madness, that's a pretty popular thing. And I will admit, I'm not a huge basketball fan. I took a little more interest in it this year than previous years because two of the associate attorneys in our office, one went to North Carolina and one to Kansas, they have Kansas and North Carolina roots. And so, of course, they were both very interested in the final that came down to Kansas and North Carolina. And college basketball, I try to follow more as well because my uncle was not just a star player in his day, but also a wonderful college coach and his assistant coach in his day as well. So college basketball is something I do try to pay some attention to. Anyway, that's a big, long intro for my immigration story of the week. The immigration story is, most of you probably know, that the University of Kansas, the Kansas Jayhawks, won the national championship. This is their 6th national championship.
Wow.
And the outstanding player of the 2022 Final Four was a young man named, and I do my best to pronounce this, Ochi Young Abuji. Okay. He was born in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, but his mother is from Wisconsin, and his father came from Nigeria when he was 17 years old, came to the United States to play basketball at the University of Wisconsin, and his mother played basketball at the University of Wisconsin as well. And then they moved when Ochi was a very young boy. They moved to Kansas City, Missouri. So Ochi grew up in Kansas City. He played soccer because his dad thought that was a better sport for him. But then he switched to basketball late in high school. I think partly because he had a growth spurt is what I heard. And so he decided to switch over to basketball, and he goes on to lead the Jayhawks to a national title, and he's the MVP. His mom is a kindergarten teacher in Kansas City. His dad is a city planner in Kansas City. And I saw this interview with them, and they were just so proud. And, that's a case that we see in our office all the time. Okay, that's like our bread and butter case right there. And the product of that immigration is this young man who's graduating from the University of Kansas and announced that he will be entering the NBA draft and will no doubt be drafted because he's a fantastic player. And so hats off to Kansas, and hats off to Ochi Boji. Still struggling with the last name. But yeah, that's my inspirational story of the week.
He would be a Nigerian American.
That's right.
And as John mentioned, it is a typical case that we handle. It's a marriage adjustment, most likely. We don't know what his parents did, but most likely, as an F1, did a change of status to an immigrant, not a change of status, sorry, adjustment of status to immigrant visa via marriage to a U.S. citizen. So very, very, very common. And it's really cool to think about what connections can be made on people's immigration journey, things that you don't even think about when you're 17, 18 years old. about your children, right? But sometimes people do think about their future. When they think about their future, usually they think about their future family, taking care of their family back home, and so it is an awesome story. Thanks for researching that and sharing it. And yeah, marriage adjustment. I'm going to bet marriage adjustment.
Nigeria and Kansas, they go together all the time.
Yeah,
it's a perfect match.
It's like peanut butter and jelly.
That's right.
Which is a snack. Anyway, we're not going to get into that discussion.
Okay, I'll give you that one.
All right, we are going to grab our first question here. First question on Facebook. And sorry, that's not just Facebook. It's Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. I always say Facebook because that's where most of the questions come. It is from Joshua. And she says, I'm an American citizen. I'm going to petition for my mom. And she has a 6-year-old son, so my half brother. Do I have to petition them both? How can I make sure they both come to the United States together? What a great question. What a great question. So did y'all get that? Josh's mom, she wants to petition for her mom. She's a U.S. citizen. So number one thing is that only U.S. citizens can petition for their parents. You cannot petition for your parent as a lawful permanent resident. So another reason to become a U.S. citizen. So she wants to petition for her mom. Mom has a minor child, and she wants to know, do I have to petition for them both? So I've answered this question a lot here on Facebook. I mean, our live stream, I've answered it on TikTok through videos. And the answer is yes, you can petition for them both. But they unfortunately will not be coming together. So that's sad, right? Because 6-year-old son, I mean, she obviously doesn't want to leave her 6-year-old mom, doesn't want to leave her 6-year-old son there. But this is how it typically works. Joshua, you petition for your mom, even though you will be listing your mom's children on the I-130 petition, they're not going to be able to immigrate with her on that petition because it is a petition filed by a U.S. citizen for an immediate relative, and derivatives cannot come along with the primary beneficiary. So however long it takes that process to get your mom here, let's just say a couple of years, your mom will enter the United States on her immigrant visa. And as soon as she does that, she should file the I-130 petition for her son. Okay, so right now, there is no retrogression for the children of lawful permanent residents. So there is no, other than the processing time, there is no visa availability wait time right now. That's probably going to change in the future, but that's what that's the process that you all have to follow. And as to your question, do I have to petition for them both? You can petition for your half brother. You can go ahead and file the I-130 petition for your half brother if you have an extra $535 lying around. And, you know, I, of course, recommend that you have an attorney to assist you with this. But it would be an extra process for you to file. It would be kind of like an insurance type policy, right? But if you file for your brother, it's going to take a really long time before that visa becomes available. It's about 20 years right now, based on the April 2022 visa bulletin for. I actually don't know what country your mom is from, but anyhow, so it takes a long time. So you can do both, but hopefully that answers your question. Again, get this question all the time. So Joshua, thank you for asking that really, really good question. All right, do you want to grab one on TikTok?
Yeah, sure. First one up here is, my wife is a green card holder. Can she apply for me? I have a work permit through asylum.
Oh, okay. This is on here too. Through YouTube.
Yeah. Okay.
So wife is a green card holder. Can she apply for me? I have work permit for asylum. Yes, your wife can apply for you. Hopefully you have an attorney for your asylum. I would run that by your immigration attorney. The question is, you know, whether you're going to be able to adjust your status based on your wife's I-130 petition. She's a green card holder, so there is not a visa that is immediately available. How did you enter the United States? Did you enter with inspection, without inspection? There are a lot of factors here. And so if you don't have an immigration attorney, we'd be happy to analyze this case for you to see if that is the best route. But I would absolutely go back to your immigration lawyer and give them this question. All right. Good question, though. Let's see here. Russell says, can I file for citizenship even when I went on a vacation for 5 months, then another 5 months, but 1 year apart? I just made my 5 years here last February. Congratulations on getting the 5. So Russell is concerned about his travel to the Philippines, 5 months, 1 year, and then 5 months the next year. What you have to do, Russell, and just kind of doing the math in my head and knowing what the answer is going to be. And again, I don't want to give you legal advice. Did we talk about this not being legal advice? Okay.
This is not legal advice.
This is not legal advice.
These are just really good answers.
But essentially, what you do is you take 365 times 5, and then you divide that. And you have to be in the United States. I believe it's 918. I don't know. Do you have a calculator?
Yeah.
914 days out of the 5 years. I'm sure that you meet that requirement, but we do the calculation in our software program. Will make that calculation, but I can just kind of, look at it and probably you're fine. But I would, don't take my word for it. So what is it?
Oh, I'm sorry.
365. Anyway, yeah. So that's how you would calculate 365 times 5.
Yeah, that's what that was.
Divided by 9. Divided by 2. Sorry. Yeah. So 914 days out of the 5. I'm sure you meet that because you've only been out for 10 total months. All right. Hopefully that helps, Russell. We can help you with your citizenship too if you don't want to go at it on your own.
That's right. If you don't have a calculator, why invest in one? You can just have us do it.
I'm pulling this up because Gamer's Paradise says a complete unrelated question. What is your opinion about what happened at the Grammys? Is that are we talking about Will Smith or?
That was the Oscars.
That was the Oscars. I don't know what happened.
Sorry, I don't know what happened to the Grammys.
Did something bad happen at the Grammys too?
I didn't see the Grammys.
Don't know what happened at the Grammys. Was it an immigration thing? Gamers Paradise, let us know.
Yeah, we missed the Grammys. Sorry about that.
Let us know what happened at the Grammys. But if we're talking about what happened at the Oscars, but that's not the question, so maybe we should skip. Let me just say what happened at the Oscars, right? So you can, you're a criminal defense attorney.
Yeah.
It's an assault and battery, right? It's an assault and battery. Do you think this rises to the level of crime of violence for immigration purpose? Crime of violence.
Well, I mean,
your opinion.
He did star in that Muhammad Ali movie.
Oh yeah, he probably had but it's not going to be a crime of violence. It's not going to rise to that level of crime of violence.
It's an offensive touching, but probably not a crime of violence.
Right. It was an open hand.
That's right. Slap.
So for immigration purposes, if we're only speaking here to Virginia, the code of Virginia. We don't know what the code of Los Angeles. Right. If there's a city code or if there's a state code. But it probably would not be a deportable offense if Will Smith were not a U.S. citizen and he slapped someone in the face and there was an immigration issue. It probably would not rise to the level of a deportable offense. To put a little immigration spin on it.
Right. So if you're a non-U.S. citizen and you have a criminal record, that's always something that you need to be very careful with that. And if you don't have a criminal record and you're a non-U.S. citizen, you really want to try to not acquire a criminal record because it just creates complications. And sometimes they can be very serious complications. crime of violence is one that really is a problem. And, in Virginia, as Radlin said,
Plus 12,
we're
yeah.
able to eke it through because we have a really interesting, our assault and battery statute here includes any offensive touching. And so some offensive touchings would be an assault and battery under Virginia law, but not necessarily a crime of violence under federal law, which it has to track that crime of violence language to be an immigration problem. So that's what we're talking about with regard to the crime of violence. But in California or another state, we don't know what your assault and battery statutes say.
Right. What do they
So the general warning that I always give everyone when this comes up, be careful. Don't smoke marijuana. Don't get DUIs. Don't hit anyone. Don't steal anything. Don't commit fraud. These are all, really bad things. All right?
Yep. Keep it clean.
Right.
And then you can do whatever you want when you become a U.S. citizen.
Yeah, that's kind of our
Hopefully
joke.
you don't.
Yeah, hopefully you don't. But once you naturalize, then you can, do whatever.
Smoke the joint.
Right. Exactly.
and live to talk about it.
Exactly.
All right. But let's see here. What do we have going on in TikTok?
Just the same questions. Everybody wants to know why it's taking so long to process fiance visas and wants to know if the Philippine embassy is open and are they processing?
Philippine embassy is open. I'm sorry. The U.S. embassy in Manila is open and it's slow. They're very backlogged along with all other countries. Some countries are worse than others. The Philippines is really bad off, right? It's a lot of people going through there. Juarez.
Yeah, that's a good clarification. This person said the Philippine embassy, but I think you're right. I was reading off the question here, but I think they probably meant the U.S. embassy in the Philippines.
Yep. So they are open. We do have cases going through there, and it's just very backlogged, guys. I don't know what else to say. It's a bad situation. USCIS, it's a different issue than your petition taking a long time. It's a different issue than the I-129F taking 9 to 12 months to approve. It's just backlogged for interviews, and so it is open. It doesn't seem like it's open to some of our clients, but it is, and they are trying to process hopefully the fastest they can, the best they can. All right, let's see here. Eek Jer, he says, I'm going to hide the question. Hello, how long does it take to get a decision after the interview? I had an interview with my wife 2 months ago, and only the I-130 was approved, but I-45 is still pending. We filed as concurrent. I'm a U.S. citizen. My wife is F1, but she already graduated. So how long do we have to wait? We filed since September 2021. So did we have this question last week? It was very, very similar.
Yeah.
And it just depends. Like, I don't know where your office is, but here we are, in Norfolk, unless there is an inquiry about the green card application, about the admissibility of the applicant, that the I-45 and the I-130 usually get approved right around the same time. So someone last week asked this question. The question was, should I be worried? And I said, no, you shouldn't be worried yet, but this is not typical, but there could be a good reason. There could be I don't know. There could be a reason. I'm just saying, basically, don't try not to worry about it. Your office, that's how they may process things for whatever reason. But 2 months after the I-130 was approved, well, they had the interview 2 months ago, but I don't know exactly when the I-130 was approved. But I would just kind of wait a little bit. The 120 days that you're asking about, do you have to wait 120 days to do an inquiry to get a decision? That's with naturalization. You can do an inquiry, but the problem with doing an inquiry is if your case is not outside of the posted processing times on USCIS website, then they're going to say your case is still within processing times. It is very frustrating. It's very frustrating. We still make the inquiry anyway. They still tell us, hey, your case is out still within processing time. So wait. So how do you find out how long a particular case is going to take? You have to, Google USCIS processing times, put in the form, the I-45, put in the field office. If your field office is Los Angeles, put the field office in and it'll spit out how long the 45 is processing. So, I mean, it's just a very long range. It could be, a year and a half to 3 years. And so it's frustrating to be working around that. There are going to be some new initiatives for USCIS to speed things up. But that doesn't help you now. I would just kind of hold on and wait a little bit longer and see what happens. With regard to, with regard to a inquiry, I might just go ahead and make a congressional inquiry. If you guys have not joined our Live Love Immigration Facebook page, we have pinned on that page how to make a congressional inquiry, and go ahead and join that or ask to join it so you can check that out. But I would want to do that and to go for that avenue as well. All right. What do we have going on over there? We've got a lot of questions already, but I'm just kind of trying to go back and forth here. So
okay, so we ended with that.
Happy spring, everyone. It's April 6th. Our daughter turned 11 yesterday, and she's so funny. She said, well, since it was my birthday yesterday, you guys don't have to do the live stream tonight, right? It has nothing to do with anything. But
okay, let's see. The next question up is, if I do a PhD in the U.S., am I eligible for EB1 category green card?
It depends on the rest of what your resume looks like. I mean, just a PhD alone is not going to a PhD alone is not going to make you eligible necessarily for a person of extraordinary ability, if that's what you're talking about, which I'm assuming that is what you're talking about. Well, very good question, though.
Yeah, and all these cases are complicated and require expertise and knowledge, and especially with something like that, you would be really, really wise to schedule a consultation with us to discuss that in more detail. That's not the kind of question that's easy to answer.
Yeah, that is
quickly. That requires a little deeper digging. Okay,
that's what we call a WAG. If I were to answer that question, you guys know what a WAG is? If you know what the WAG is, put it in the comments. All right. So let's see here. Joshua has a very good follow-up question. What if, and Joshua asked the question, if she, as a U.S. citizen, petitions for her mom, and mom has a minor son, he's only 6 years old, can she really wants them to be able to come together? And that's not really going to happen because of how the petition works, and just the derivative beneficiary is not going to be able to come on mom's immigrant visa petition. So, but what if mom is the only legal guardian in the Philippines of her 6-year-old son? She's a single mother. Will they allow her to come on that petition? And the answer, unfortunately, is still no. So what I have seen, what we have done for our clients in the past is, the primary applicant, your mom, would immigrate to the United States and then file that I-130 petition, and then go back to the Philippines, Philippines, or file a reentry permit, go back until that petition is ready. We've done that before. Again, it's on a case-by-case basis. I don't know if that would be appropriate in your case, but it's something to consider. All right. Okay. Do you have a question?
This question is kind of, I'm not sure what, so they want to know, what are the requirements for a returning green card holder to the U.S.?
So it's probably maybe a returning resident. So Dominique Sampson, Attorney Sampson, he's the one that does our SB1 cases. I actually really don't know. I don't know what the requirements are for an SB1 because I don't work on them. Dom does, and I never have. So if you want to but I do know that you really have to have all of your ducks in order to do that, to do an SB1. So if you want to make an appointment with Attorney Sampson, you can give us a call, 757-464-9224. You can call or text us, or you can send us an email to info@gmlaw.net. Again, that's 757-464-9224. Our consultation fee is $275. If you make an appointment with Attorney Sampson, any of our attorneys, of course, we basically take your particular facts and apply them to immigration law, right? It's what we do. And you will leave that consultation knowing exactly how, what the process is, what you should be doing, what documents you should be gathering, how much is the process going to cost, approximately how long it's going to take, what are the legal fees, what are the filing fees. So you have a picture of, what to do in your case, right, and how much it's going to cost. So
what are the strengths of your case? What are the pitfalls that you need to be careful with?
What are the risks?
What are the risks involved? Exactly. All of those things.
Right.
So your case is important. You really ought. It's a good investment to talk to an immigration lawyer and let us really, really analyze the facts. And at least you'll know. I mean, even if it's an answer you don't like, at least you'll know what your options are.
Yes. Sometimes we have to give news that people don't like, but they are always very thankful to know, at least that they know that they're not going to have to go. They're not going to waste their time, money, emotional energy on something that down the road is probably not going to work based on our professional opinion.
Right. And, I know there's fraud and everything, but there's a fair amount of fraud in the immigration space as well, with folks out there who purport to be experts. They are not immigration lawyers. They're giving bad advice, wrong advice, charging for things that shouldn't be charged for, so on and so forth. So, just be careful. Make sure that you're talking. If it's not us, obviously we'd like it for us to be us. But if it's not us, make sure that it's a competent immigration lawyer who, knows what they're doing and has experience in this field like we do. Okay.
Yep. Good question though. Rose just wanted to drop by and say hello. Hi, Rose. No question today. Okay. A-okay.
But thanks for dropping by and saying hi.
Absolutely.
So here's a question here we would need a lot more information. She says that my U.S. citizen kids were denied coming back into the U.S. What should I do?
That's weird.
That's exactly. We'd have to know, based on what? Why are they being denied?
Yeah, that's strange.
So you might want to. That's the kind of thing where you need to call us and give us some more detail. We would need to see whatever paperwork they received or what the reasoning was, what the history is there. All right, and we're getting all these lovely finger hearts and roses.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
For those of you who don't do TikTok, those are all the tokens of appreciation and friendship.
Right, and I think they're actually money, like 0.001 cents. But we appreciate it. I think we have like 17 cents in our TikTok account. I'm pumped up about that. Can you buy a now and later with 17 cents? Yes, I am showing my age. All right, let's see here. Lucky Zoe says, should I be worried if it takes almost 5 months and still don't have to schedule for my oath taking for citizenship? As of now, my case status is being actively reviewed by USCIS. So really good question. Lucky Zoe, should you be worried? That's it's kind of a long time. It is a long time. And the question that I have for you is, what do you want to do about it? Do you want to just continue to wait? Do you want to, have you made a congressional inquiry? Have you made, an inquiry as far as, just with USCIS? If you have done all of those and still nothing has happened, has your attorney written a letter? If you've done all of those things, nothing has happened, the question that you have to ask yourself is, what am I willing to do in order to get this naturalization application, a decision on this application? And when am I willing to do it? And what I'm talking about is, are you ready to file a lawsuit? So it's been 120 days. And so they needed to have made a decision within that 120 days. You can file a lawsuit and sue them and force them to make a decision on your case. And that's where the question comes in. Are you willing to file a lawsuit? Now, a lot of people are afraid of lawsuits. Suing the U.S. government sounds like a daunting thing to do. It sounds like an expensive thing to do.
Scary thing to do.
Scary thing to do.
Risky thing to do.
Right. All of those things. Right. And
we get it. I mean, we're lawyers. And we understand.
Yeah. And, you know, it's up to you. It's your personal, how long can you wait? Are you waiting to become a citizen to do something, like to file for your parents, to file for your spouse? So the decision to do it might be stronger for you if that's the case. I don't know where you live, but my recommendation would be to, you can make a consultation with us and we can analyze it. And are you ready? Are you ready to file a lawsuit? If you're not in our jurisdiction, then we would pair up with a local attorney to file, and we would prepare that lawsuit and file it. We've done it a lot. We used to have to do these a lot because of stalled naturalization cases after the interview. And, it's just a way to get an action on your case. I'm sorry to say that. Like, why do you have to file a lawsuit for USCIS to do its job? Good question, but sometimes you do to get a result, because the letters from your attorney, congressional liaison, trying to make an info pass, making an inquiry on the USCIS, making any type of inquiry, calling the USCIS ombudsman. These are all the things these are all the tools that we use before we file a lawsuit. And the question is, how long are you willing to wait, and how many avenues are you willing to take? You don't have to. You can file it now. You don't have to even take any of those avenues. But it's good to put it in the lawsuit. But anyway, my point is, I don't think you should be worried a lot of times. So for those of you just joining us, for stalled immigration cases, specifically for stalled N-400 applications, sometimes they're just that. They're just stalled for no reason. Maybe, I'm not trying to be funny here, but maybe the file fell down the side of the desk, and like, what happened to it? I mean, it's all electronic. I'm teasing, of course, but
remember the files that were in the caves?
Yes, that's right. The files that were. So you could be a cave file person. You could be.
A couple months ago, we reported on a story that all these immigration files had been stored off-site in these caves underground, and
you can't access them.
Trying to find out what they were.
They can't access the caves for I can't remember why. I don't remember. So if you fall into that category, what that means is USCIS, when they make a decision on your N-400, even though they've got your application electronically there in front of them, they cannot make a final decision on that until they see your full immigration file. And if your full immigration file is in one of these caves that they cannot access, then you're sitting there. And the only thing to do is to either, just sit and wait or file a lawsuit. Sorry, we've filed lawsuits very recently, and they have been effective.
Very effective.
Very effective.
Okay. Tinks86 wants to know, my husband overstayed his visa before we got married. Do we need an attorney to file paperwork? So husband's overstayed. They are married now. And I guess they're worried that now they've got this immigration case. They were going to seek adjustment, but he overstayed his visa.
Okay. So let me break the question down. The question is, because he overstayed his visa, do we now need an immigration lawyer to help us with the case? That's essentially the question, right?
Right.
Okay. So
I think they're assuming that had he still been on,
yeah,
in
right.
status, and then they got married, that they would just do it themselves. But they have this wrinkle that he
Correct.
overstayed before they got married, and so now they're
Right.
concerned.
I want to answer this question fairly, and I'm going to just start off by saying that no matter what your immigration facts are, whether you've overstayed, whether you've not overstayed, whether you came in on a tourist visa, an F1, whether you entered without inspection, you do not need an immigration lawyer to handle your case. So if you have any of these facts, if these negative facts, no, you do not need an immigration lawyer. But should you have one? Absolutely. I think everyone should have an immigration lawyer for their case. Now, we're kind of biased, but I mean, we've helped thousands of people get green cards and citizenship and help them through we don't do this anymore directly, but help people through their deportation and their removal cases. And so, yes, we are biased, but that's because we've had so much, we've had a lot of great success, and it's how we make our living, right? Should you hire a roofer to put a new roof on it, or should you do it yourself? Like, should you take that $12,000 and just put it in your pocket, or should you go ahead and just put the new roof on yourself? I mean, that's the same kind of question,
right?
So, yes, you can. John repaired our dryer. Should he have done that? The people that help us with our business consultants, they're like, no, he should not have repaired the dryer. He should have let someone else repair the dryer, and he should have been doing legal work.
For any of you out there who are contemplating fixing your own dryer,
it took him a long
I had to
time.
replace the belt. It was an all-day event, so
yeah,
just a warning, and a trip to the hardware store. 2 trips.
And potentially an injury. Like, every time he repairs things, he gets injured a little bit. So,
okay.
Okay,
moving on.
Well, but I mean, the point is that you don't need an immigration lawyer. It doesn't matter what your negative facts are. I strongly recommend that you have an immigration lawyer. We would love it to be us. We could file that case for you.
And the more complex the case and the more issues there are, it becomes even more important. Again, if you have the most basic case and you self-file, maybe you'll be okay. We don't even recommend that.
Yeah.
But boy, you bring anything in, like an overstay, any kind of criminal record, any kind of weird oddity.
Yeah.
You're playing with fire if you do it without an attorney. You really are, because you don't know what you don't know, and that could be a fatal mistake in your case. So, are you required by law to have one because of your husband being an overstay? No.
That is the heart of the question.
Should you have one?
Absolutely.
And if it's not us, if you're more comfortable with someone else, fair enough. But you definitely should have a lawyer.
Some of you all just may be joining us like, why are they finishing each other's sentences? We are married. We have been married for 23 years, right? Yep. Is it going to be 24 in October?
24.
Yeah. We have 3 children. Our 3 daughters. Our first child was our law firm, right, which we started together.
Yes, we've been practicing
in 2000.
We've been practicing immigration law as partners for over 20 years now. So we've seen a lot, and we've corrected a lot of cases. Speaking of self-filing, a lot of our cases are people that did go it alone without an attorney, and then things got all screwed up, and then we're trying to fix it. And so you don't be that person. It reminds me of I won't say it. Okay.
Follow-up question from Lucky Zoe. Will it jeopardize my son's case for N600 if I'll file the case? No, it should not. No, it does not.
Okay, the guy in Mickey shoes.
Yeah.
So I guess he's Mickey Mouse. The guy in Mickey shoes wants to know, can I include my spouse on a J1 in my green card application? So I guess the spouse.
What is the question?
Can I include my spouse on J1 in my green card application?
So,
Who's the?
Can your spouse come as a derivative on your J1 visa? Yes, they can. Can they? So I mean, maybe somebody's applying for green card for you through employment.
This is one of the disadvantages with TikTok. It's very short, and so this is a perfect example. This is a question that's like missing some important things that we would want to know.
Yeah.
Your green card application. How are you? What are you doing? How are you doing your green card application?
Probably through employment.
The spouse is not the person because she's on the J1.
Oh, spouse is on the J1.
Yeah. So he's filing a green card application, I think, and he wants to see if his spouse can be on the application. She is currently on a J1. So you're right. It must be an employment-based green card application.
Yeah. So if it's employment-based, yeah, the spouse can be a derivative of that employment in the sense that once a visa is available, then you can do consular processing or, 45 for that.
All right.
Hopefully that answers your question.
Hopefully that helps.
I would ask the
issues.
I would ask the attorney that's helping you with the employment-based immigration case.
Yeah, if there's an attorney that's assisting with the employment case, ask. And if we're reading that, if that question needed some commas or something that would have helped us, repost it and maybe we'll get to it later. Maybe we got the wrong. Right.
I want to address a quick question that I received in a comment, and I think it's a really good question and something that people wonder about and ask about. And the question was, I'm a lawful permanent resident. I have minor children. Should I petition for my children, or should their stepfather, my husband, petition for the children? The question went on to say, hey, the immigration officer said, why don't you just let your husband do it? And I didn't even know that my husband, their stepdad, could file a petition for them. Stepdad is a U.S. citizen. Did you follow that? So the question ultimately was like, hey, what is faster? What is better? What's the best thing to do here? And again, that's very fact specific. But I will say, generally speaking, if the children of lawful permanent residents, if that category, unmarried children of lawful permanent residents, if it retrogresses, if there becomes a time where there's a cutoff date, there is no cutoff date right now, it's current, then it would be faster if U.S. citizen stepdad petitioned for the children. Now, again, maybe some of you are out there and you're thinking, oh yeah, let's get stepdad, let's get husband to file the I-130 petition for these kids. Because you're listening and you're like, let's do that. That's what she said. But you have to remember, you guys have had to, you had to have gotten married prior to the children turning age 18. So there's just all these different little nuances, right? And then a follow-up question that I could have had for the mom, again, just kind of showing you that is extremely fact specific, is, do any of your children have any children, right? Because if any of your children have any children, then it would be better for you to file that petition as a lawful permanent resident for your unmarried child who has a derivative beneficiary. Because remember, I just said earlier that the mom couldn't bring their son because it's immediate relative of a U.S. citizen, but this is a different scenario. So if you guys are completely confused and don't know what the hell I'm talking about, it's because it is very, very confusing. And I had a couple of consultations on this very topic this week. There were a lot of really sensitive timing issues, which way to go. And so you got to just be really careful, as John was saying, that the facts are really, really important. And this is just general helpful tips and information that we are giving out. It's not something you should be taking notes on, like, yeah, let's go do this, let's go do that. You need to consult with an immigration attorney.
Right. I mean, if you've got something that's an ailment that's bothering you, you can read, WebMD at long and, try to diagnose and take some information you find there and see if it helps. Or you can go see a doctor and actually get a checkup, and the doctor can give you a professional opinion about what is ailing you. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel compelled to tell a personal story.
You have to tell the story.
I mean,
you have to tell the story.
A few years ago, I had been working in the yard, and I had this rash on my arm, and it was just the most painful, itchy thing. I was dying. I thought it was poison ivy. I thought it was this. I thought it was that for months. Like it was there. It wouldn't go away.
Listen, we had so many creams.
I was all over the internet.
Over the counter. I
would convinced it was this. And so I'd buy the cream for that. Didn't help. Then I'd be convinced, no, I think it's this.
Hundreds on creams, guys.
So then I'd buy this and I'd buy that. I mean, I had all these different ointments and all this stuff. It wasn't, and they were like, I'd given myself like 9 self-diagnoses about what it was. And then I would treat it on my own and never helped. I finally just said, this is crazy. I can't take this anymore. I made an appointment with a dermatologist. I went into the dermatologist. He looked at it, and I'm not kidding you. In 1 second, he told me what it was. And it was nothing that I had figured out in any of my self. I was like, oh, I didn't even see that anywhere on the internet. What is that? And he told me, he gave me some medicine for it. A week later, it was gone. No exaggeration.
Yeah, that is not exaggeration. I can attest to that because I was there. I went through all of the different stages of rash.
I should have just gone to the dermatologist right out of the gate. It's a skin condition. He was,
he's an
expert in skin conditions. And what it was, I never would have found it because I, just wouldn't have. All right. So that's my story about my rash that hopefully will resonate with your immigration decisions. Okay.
Right. Absolutely.
All right. And that gets to, we had a question here. JJ Pace wanted to know what's the difference between legal advice and an opinion. There it is. Opinions are just, if you're hanging out with your buddies playing pool and everybody at the pool table has an opinion about what you should do. And if you take their opinions and your case goes south, well, there's nothing you can really do about it. You can't, say, oh, I get a second shot at this, because Tony down at the pool table told me that's how I should do it. If you get legal advice from an attorney, then you can rely on that advice. All right.
Yeah.
They're your lawyer, and they have ethical rules and responsibilities as a fiduciary, and they have to give you sound advice, and you can rely on that advice. Okay.
Yep. You can rely on it. That's the big thing.
Okay. Let's see here. There was another one right before that. All right. Somebody here, I've lost it now, wanted to know, they have a green card and they are applying for citizenship. They want to know, while they're in the process of applying for citizenship, can they travel out of the United States?
Yes.
All right.
Try not to miss your biometrics appointment. And don't travel out for more than 6 months.
Yeah. So yes, you can travel. Don't stay out for more than 6 months.
Yeah, I get that. We get that question a lot. Some people have been stuck in the United States, missing very important events like weddings and funerals because they thought that once they apply for U.S. citizenship, they could not leave the United States, and that's not true.
All right. Do we have any more there?
We're good here. So I think next week that we will probably not be here because it's spring break and we are going to be taking a big road trip. So we're leaving on Thursday really early in the morning. So I think that we'll probably not be here next Wednesday.
Yeah, we apologize. We will be here the following Wednesday. All right.
And for those of you who have not yet joined our Live Love Immigration, again, there is one key thing there regarding how to file a congressional liaison assistance in your jurisdiction. So check that out. And if you'd like to join, we would love to have you join the conversation on that group page. Oh, here comes our timekeeper.
I can hear our timekeeper.
Yes,
approaching.
Our birthday girl. She just turned 11. Here she comes bounding up the stairs.
She always makes us promise to stop right at 9 o'clock.
Yes.
So she comes.
And here she is.
Hey, everybody.
Ray's 11 now. Ray, happy birthday. He's our youngest. Just turned 11. Anyhow, guys, thank you so much for all of your questions.
Yeah, we apologize for those of you whose questions in TikTok, especially here, that we didn't get to. Not next week, but the following week, we'll be here again at 8 o'clock. Try to get on right at 8 o'clock because we just take the questions in the order that they come in. So
just like immigration.
So the first one's posted is the first one's answered. All right, everyone?
All right. Take care, guys.
All right, everyone have
Two
a
thumbs
wonderful
up.
week.
Thumbs up.
See you in a couple of weeks. All right. Oh, yeah. Congratulations again. I'm not going to butcher the name this time. To Ochi Young, who is the MVP of the NCAA men's basketball team, Kansas Jayhawks.
Nigerian American.
Product of a wonderful immigration story. All right, everyone. Take care.
Take
See ya.
care.
2 thumbs up.